Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Bay. And I'm going to finally just go through the last of the comics I picked up from Koaz a while back. It was a rough bin. A lot of these are in rough shape. I don't really care. I think total, I spent less than $10. It was probably more like $8. These were very, very cheap comics. They were just kind of getting rid of them. Koaz is just a used bookstore about an hour from where I live. And this is what I found. This is the rest of it. I've had a few that I've looked at already, but I grabbed this issue of Elementals. I enjoy Elementals, the Comico stuff. And I grabbed this one because it's newer. This is a newer Elementals that I'm used to. This is the newer Comico logo. And so I just grabbed it because I wasn't sure. I also thought this guy is dressed mysteriously like Thor, and didn't know what the deal was with that. But, oh my gosh, that is a big, giant, fat, floating man. Wowza. So, yeah, I grabbed it. I wasn't really sure what was going on with it. I enjoy Elementals. I think it's a creepy, weird, fairly creepy. Wowza. That's intense. Comic book. So, it's one I do grab if I see them. Grendel. And you can see they're a little bit abnormal from your average comic. That is a really nice spread. That's a great picture. I like that. But yeah, Comico stuff, every time I've ever read it, it seems to be just a little bit, a little edgier, a little weirder. There's Fathom. There's been some strange issues with her, definitely. But just a little bit weirder, little darker than your average superhero book. So I find them. Oh my goodness. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I say Elemental's a little darker, a little weirder. That's a perfect example right there. This furred beast just bit that guy's head off. Anyway, I maybe paid 50 cents for that. But this one I would have paid 25 cents for because everything was half off. And then I used trade credit, which was even less. This is The Guardian. This is by Spectrum Comics. I'm not familiar with Spectrum Comics, which is pretty much the only reason that I bought it, because I'm not familiar with Spectrum Comics. Has a good 80s feel to it, or possibly early 90s. Let me look here so I can be sure. 1984. The art looks good in it. It has a good feel to the book. It doesn't feel like it's made on trash paper, which some of these independent comics, the paper is so cheap that you almost feel bad, reading it. And this one's been roughed up. It hasn't been taken care of real well, and it was in just a big bin of stuff and abused. But is that his face? I thought that was a mask. That might actually be his face. Nope, that's a mask. But I thought it was an interesting enough looking book. Gave it a try. Thought I'd give that a whirl. Next up, I grabbed X-Mutants Annual #1. I always grab, I love Eternity comics, and X-Mutants in particular are one of the comics that they do really well that I always hunt for. If I'm hunting comics and there's an X-Mutants in there, I'm going to take it home. It's just one of those companies that I like. Their art always seems to be quite well done. Reference, this is 1988. And if you're unfamiliar with X-Mutants, I was made aware of them from the video game, X-Mutants video game for Sega Genesis. The whole world is populated by mutants, and a robot scientist takes 6 mutants and turns them back into humans. And they're the only humans on Earth. They are the X-Mutants. So I thought that was a cool concept. It's a very grim apocalypse future, but it's also strangely spiced with quirkiness and comedy, which, who doesn't love that combination? but it's juxtaposed to a very grim, dark Earth scenario. And Eternity Comics published them for quite some time. I think some other comic company did it for a while too. But then the original team gets killed, like all of them die. And then they basically reboot the series with a whole new team, and Malibu Comics takes over. And that's when it gets really quirky and weirder and more toned down, less dark, more cartoony, more friendly. I personally much prefer the Eternity stuff to the Malibu stuff, which is odd because I love Malibu. That's a cool, creepy image going on there. Yeah, these are just awesome. Let's see what that's in these. So Wild Knights is a spin-off book from the X-Mutants, and so is Shattered Earth. And there's a whole bunch of different books set just in this universe of post-apocalypse, nuclear wasteland of misery and everything. I twist that down just a touch. Next up, I saw Gatecrasher, and I remember this being promoted a lot in Wizard. They had, I think this was the only issue of Gatecrasher they had, but I was like, you know what? I'll grab that. It's by Black Bull. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not familiar with anything from Gatecrasher or anything about it. I just grabbed it because it's one of those books I don't know anything about. And sometimes that's all it takes to pique my interest in a comic book, is not knowing anything about it. So, running around in his skivvies. I don't know the premise here at all. I'm sensing some comedy going on in this book, though. That's pretty comedy right there. Can't be a big fat naked guy in there. Always gotta have that. A wedgie, nice. Well, very much on the humor side, but yeah, like I said, the only thing I could remember about it was Wizard talking about it. So, you know what? It was 50 cents. I grabbed it. What the heck? Next up, we have Nexus number 36. I was able to hold on to my big run of Nexus, but for some reason when I saw this issue, I was like, I don't remember this cover. And I was like, if I don't have it, I can't leave it here. And it was only 50 cents, so I'm like, I'd better just grab it. Because I don't want to accidentally miss out on a book that I actually need. So I went ahead and got that. Got to pick that up. Nexus always has top edge or top tier art, in my opinion. I think it's all gorgeous. Most of the covers are very, very beautiful. Whoever did their coloring work on these is always good. And it's your typical ribald space stories and stuff like that, which I always, you know, who doesn't appreciate that? Yeah, sometimes you never know what you're going to see in these. But yeah, Nexus 36, just because I was like, I can't remember if I have that cover or not. Didn't want to pass it. And that's pretty much the same story with Prime 23. I'm fairly certain I have a full run of Prime. I don't remember. I know I was missing one of the late issues, and this cover didn't look familiar, so I just grabbed it. I'm like, maybe I have this, maybe I don't. Or maybe it's a variant. I always worry about that too. So you know what? Even though I have Prime 1 through 26, I grabbed it just in case. Just in case I don't. And it is rough. This book is pretty trashed up. This looks like it's during the primeval phase. Looks like the appearance of New Prime. The way he, like, if you're not familiar with how Prime works, Prime is like a 12 or 13-year-old boy who basically grows a superhero out of his chest that surrounds him, like a big exo shell of disgusting goo. So he looks like what a 12-year-old would think a hero would be. And Primeval there is literally one of the husks left over that got brought back to life. So that's nice and disgusting. But yeah, there you go. Little Kevin. Kevin is prime. Anyway, I see they stuck the sticker on there. Thanks, Coaz. Next up, I got DNA Agents number 7. I'm pretty sure I have a full run of DNA Agents, but this is another one of those, I don't remember this cover. I gotta get it just in case I'm missing out here, or, you know, a variant cover or something that I don't have. Pretty sure I have a full run of DNA Agents, and this, now that I'm looking at the inside, it does look more familiar. But it's just one of those cases where you gotta be sure. I mean, if you're sitting there and it's like, I'm not positive I have this, for an investment of, this was probably 25 cents for me, I'm not gonna pass it. I'm not gonna leave it, not gonna risk it to fill a gap that I may have, that I may or may not have. Seduction of the Innocent. Pre-code horror classics. Awesome. Yeah, I need to read this series. I need to read it, double read it, get back into that. Old Eclipse stuff is fantastic. And then this was the last one. This one actually, I probably had to pay a couple dollars for this one. I think it was maybe $3 was the most. But this is Classics Illustrated, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, 15-cent cover price, number 6. I saw it and I was like, gosh, that is a really cool looking book. And you know, I've heard of this series, Classics Illustrated. It's just comic book versions of some of your classic books and novels. I mean, usually the art is not super fancy. It's pretty stock stuff from what I've seen. But it's just kind of a neat thing to have. So I was like, you know what, for $3 to buy Tale of Two Cities, even if it's just part of it, I'll do that. I would do that. So I did. And this is the book. Let's see. Now that you have read the classic, don't know what it is. There's a bio of Charles Dickens in the back. Best beloved fairy tale books. All your greatest authors. Yeah. So very cool. Actually, before I close that up, let me figure out. 1967 was when they made this. So pretty cool book there. I'm pretty satisfied with these. All said, this would have been less than $5 for all of these total, because my total was only like $8 for everything that I bought. I've looked at quite a few of them since then. But anyway, those are the books I got. That is them. They're in rough shape, but I didn't spend much, and I enjoyed sharing them with you. Thank you for watching. That's my story, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.